Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Thank you for joining. Let's do this, huh? Oh, it's not even working. Not even giving me any noise. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I can turn El Gato on. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy Friday. Yes, it is Friday. I love Fridays. Don't you love Fridays? I got my Simpty shirt on. Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. Where's the cat? El Gato. How about that? Maybe. Oh, there we go. Yes. Thank you for joining me. I can't start the day. I can't start the live without my applause. It's a narcissistic supply and ego gratification time, of course. I'm in a rare mood this morning. This is your boy, Devin Lockett, also known as OG Red Dog, the president of the Biomed RX Health Center and the president of Biomed RX Incorporated. Yes, I have wires connected to my head. That's right. That's what I do. Neurofeedback, EEG Biofeedback. I am a certified neurofeedback clinician of many years, and I performed neurofeedback at the Biomedrix Health Center. First, of course, to recover my son from the symptoms known as autism. I was very effective at helping not only my son, but a few other people's children, many other children, actually. So I'm very grateful for that experience. But what I also discovered in doing neurofeedback was that it was not only good for autism, the autism spectrum disorders. It's not only good for anxiety, stress, depression, ADD, ADHD, bruxism, teeth grinding, right? Insomnia, a host, I didn't say any, but a host of neurological disorders can be treated effectively with neurofeedback therapy. Neurofeedback meaning EEG biofeedback. EEG meaning electroencephalograph. That's what this is. This is an EEG amplifier. It's called the NeuroAmp 2. And it is a pretty powerful device for training the brain. It will detect my brain wave activity, and it will provide a feedback feedback loop to help basically improve brain function and to get rid of neocortical dysregulation. Neocortical dysregulation, little kinks or so, that may occur in the neocortex as a result of stress, intense emotion, shock, fear, anger, boredom, which is just ADHD, any number of things, drugs, any number of things can cause dysregulation of the neocortex. When your neocortex is dysregulated, it is almost impossible to reach an alpha state, which is a state of being calm and relaxed and happy, basically. Your happy zone, what we call the yummy zone. Now, yes, substances can help you reach the alpha state, particularly beer and wine and marijuana. Not all alcohol and not all drugs, but those particular three tend to make it easier to reach an alpha state. But the problem with that is, well, there are several problems. First, there's a problem of addiction and chemical dependency, because if you use chemicals, then you're going to depend on them. Secondly, drugs also cause dysregulation in the neocortex, which means once you come down off the temporary buzz, you're going to be even worse off than you were before. And thirdly, the entire brain does not operate at the same optimal frequency. In other words, you may calm down your parietal lobe with a glass of wine or a shot of whiskey or whatever your poison is, or a joint or whatever it is. Yet you are now slowing down the amount of neocortical arousal. In other words, you're calming your brain, you're slowing your brain down. And although you may feel happy from the parietal lobe, you may feel happy from relaxing the parietal lobe, now the alcohol or whatever the drug is in your system, and it's also affecting your frontal lobe, which chooses or prefers to operate at a higher frequency. So you may be happy, but the frontal lobe is impaired, and so therefore you can't drive a car, right? Executive control and inhibitory control are negatively affected by the substances that you are imbibing to reach that happy state. So you say things that you would not have said because your faculty of inhibitory control is no longer there as effectively as it should be. And you do things that you shouldn't do, things that are impulsive, things that you end up regretting when you're under the influence. So it's best not to be under the influence. It's best to actually train your brain to the point where you can relax and receive relax and enjoy a state of just being, right? An alpha state of just being. Well, alpha isn't the only happy state, right? If you go up to a higher frequency, alpha, we already went over this on the frequency chart. I guess I might have access to here we go, brainwave frequencies chart. Here we go. On the frequencies chart, right, delta waves, 4 down to 0.5. Now, maybe it's 4 down to 0 because we train in the infralow frequency range below 0.5. Theta waves, 4 to 8 hertz. Theta waves are the zone where you are experiencing visualization, trance, dreaming, hypnosis, uncovering repressed emotions, dealing with repressed memories, and so forth. Alpha waves. Now, we just talked about being at the alpha state. The alpha waves is between 8 and 12 hertz, mostly for meditation, creativity, and relaxation, right? Well, if your neocortex is over dysregulated, then it's going to be hard to hang out there in the alpha stage. Beta waves, 12 to 30 hertz. Alertness, concentration, and thinking. Yes, we can even split that into low beta and high beta, below 25 and above 25. With low beta being your state of concentration if you are listening, like you're listening to this video, and high beta being like if you're actually thinking about something, trying to solve a problem or something, solve a math problem or something. And then above that is where we are training, where I am training this morning, at least for the next 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to come back and do some more advanced training because I have a ride coming to pick me up. Shout out to the biometrics team, by the way. But we're going to be training at 50 hertz, which is right well into the gamma zone. And it's the highest frequency that you can train on Signet, right? But before we get into that, I would like to share with you some information that I've already recorded on a previous video about neurofeedback. So I'm going to pour myself a glass of water, and I'm going to allow you guys to witness a video that I've already put together with a sufficient explanation of what's going on. This is the first video I'm going to cross-post. I'm going to put this video on BioMedRx TV and on Devin Lockett. I would like the members of both of those channels to become members of the other, and for those who are not members of either to become members of both. This is the first video in our series about neurofeedback therapy. I hope you enjoy it. Neurofeedback therapy, also known as EEG biofeedback, is an electronic method of restoring the brain to its natural balance. The process of neurofeedback is fairly simple. We use electroencephalograph technology to measure your brain waves. At this time, you are either watching a movie or playing a video game. When we detect undesirable brainwave activity, and I'm going to explain what that means later, the activity is discouraged by making the movie blurry or making the screen blurry or taking away from the clarity of what you're looking at. It kind of works on the same principle as if you were reading in a room and someone were to come in and turn the light on and off. Your pupils would dilate and constrict automatically. You don't tell your eyes to adjust to light changes. Your brain is directly connected to the eyes, and that's pretty much the way it happens. Now, when you're in neurofeedback, the same principle applies, except what is responding to the changes in the screen in the movie that you're watching are the pyramidal neurons that are directly beneath the locations where the EEG electrodes are placed on your scalp. In this way, we can gently encourage the brain to work more efficiently, to conduct the same thoughts and the same mental activity with less energy attached. But I'm getting ahead of myself. These neuroscientific terms are going to have to be introduced a little at a time as we go on. In order to view the full, unedited version of this and all of our training videos, you would have to become a patron on our Patreon page at patreon.com/biomedrxtv. A link will be provided in the description below. Before we get too deeply into neurofeedback, I want to discuss a little bit about my background. Those of you who know me know that in addition to being a filmmaker, I also have a background in biomedical engineering. I started off in the United States Air Force years ago in biomedical equipment maintenance technology, and I started this company, BioMedRx. Biomedrix has provided healthcare technology management services to healthcare providers as well as medical equipment manufacturers in the United States and over 30 countries outside of the United States. And we've been around since 1996. I've been teaching biomedical equipment maintenance in the United States as well as in over 30 countries in the Caribbean and Latin America. I've been teaching in English as well as in Spanish. Now, in the process of doing all of this teaching, I have learned that I have an ability to explain complex technical concepts in simplistic terms, in various languages. And I'm going to try to do that here with neuroscience. Now, I know that I'm going to be viewed by some neuroscience professionals, and I do appreciate constructive feedback. I am a student. I'm constantly learning myself, and I'm constantly honoring the work that's been put before me by the doctors Othmer at the EEG Institute, as well as the college training that I'm finding in neuroscience. Neuroscience is an industry that is constantly growing. We are constantly learning more and more about the brain every day. So some of the things that I put in my videos are going to be outdated very quickly, and some of the information is going to be altered or just a little bit out of date, I guess you could say, as time goes on. You're going to have to forgive me for that. But once again, if you want to view the full version of these videos, please become a patron on our Patreon page. That is patreon.com/BIOMEDRXTV or patreon.com/Devin Lockett. Now, neurofeedback basically means biofeedback for the brain. It is a process of training away dysregulation in the neocortex. Dysregulation occurs whenever we have intense emotion or boredom, which is basically ADHD, or shock, or trauma, or arguments, the accumulation of this dysregulation in the neocortex, the overaccumulation of this dysregulation is called PTSD, right? Is manifest in PTSD. This dysregulation tends to manifest itself in certain parts, certain areas of the neocortex over and over again in individuals, depending on the lifestyle that those individuals have lived. Most of us experience a lot of emotion in the parietal lobe and the occipital lobe of the neocortex, and a lot of the troops that go overseas and fight and war, they're exposed to combat. They accumulate a lot of dysregulation here in the frontal lobe as a result of having spent a long time in a state of hypervigilance, keeping one eye open or always looking over your shoulder, or basically sleeping with one eye open. This takes a toll on the brain, okay? We've had a lot of success working with veterans here at the Biometrics Health Center in addressing post-traumatic stress disorder with the therapies that I'm about to discuss. All right, I think that's enough for today. I invite you to check out that video on YouTube, on Rumble, on BitChute, a lot of the Devin Lockett channels, and you can watch the whole video. I've got a ride coming to pick me up to go to Beverly Hills pretty soon, so I wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of the Signet in action. Okay. So here we are. Now I'm going to pick my therapy. Well, let's see if you guys can follow what's going on here. If I go to Signet 2 and move it down. Okay. And Signet, I believe it's on, yes, it's on 2-channel infra-low, but that's not what we're training on today. We're going to be training on synchrony, and we're not going to do an infra-low frequency. We're going to do a very high frequency. We're going to do 50 hertz. We're going to train at 50 hertz. Now, caution for you people at home. Do not try this at home unless you are educated, trained, and experienced in neurofeedback. You see here, I picked myself, okay? And 2-channel synchrony. You see we have the whole frequency band from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40 hertz, right? You go all the way up to 40 hertz, and check it out. You can even inch past 40 with the arrow all the way up to 50 hertz. But if you're going to be training, especially if you're going to try to train at this very high, the highest frequency that it will basically allow you to train at, then you might as well train very, very slowly, okay, and go up. You see how they go up in increments of what am I trying to say? 0.25 hertz. Okay, so now we're going to pick I like flock. Okay. And I believe I've already removed the, let me get this straight for you guys. There we go. And now we'll have to, give me a minute, people. I have to kind of rearrange these screens so that they fit, because they're very big and very beautiful. And I would like you to simultaneously see the feedback of my brainwave patterns and the screen that I'm looking at whilst I am training. And I want you to see me too, right? Okay, so get this down here. Now, I think this is a little bit better view, and maybe I can make this a little bit bigger so that they're roughly the same size. There we go. All right. We're at 50 hertz. So we begin. Synchrony is quite resource intensive, and it does seem like we're not getting a response from the software. So, and my ride is here. My ride is here for Beverly Hills. So it's very unfortunate, but yeah. Yep. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to continue this. I guess I could give you guys the video back. I'm not sure. But either way, no, I have to go. My ride is here, and I'm going to be going live later on this afternoon, as you know, demonstrating synchrony neurofeedback. But in the meantime, go to my other channels, check them out. As you know, life is short. So stay kind, because kind is not only the new sexy, kind is the only damn sexy. Stay blessed and bless others, right? Or like my man Marquette Burton says, be good to good people. I like that. I like that line. I like that Assassin's Creed stuff. Anyway, stay kind, stay blessed, and stay healthy. And I'm going to see you guys on the flip-flop. Take care of yourself. And don't be afraid to use technology, right? Use technology to take care of yourself in a very, very effective way. All right? So hopefully I can get this all to work. This is all very taxing on my video card. So I believe I have to start Synchrony first and then start OBS Studio. Anyway, I have to run. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you guys on my next video. Peace.